I'm really fucking angry right now. If you like videos where I'm really angry, then I guess you're in the right place. If you don't like videos where I'm angry or criticizing or upset about things, then just leave, because this is not the video for you. Here we go. So just a couple days ago, I learned about this woman named Myka Stauffer. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that correctly. I think it's Myka. Anyway, I had a couple of my viewers reach out about her and say, hey, Savvy, have you heard what's going on with Myka? Have you heard about her vlog? She is a family vlogger, and I didn't know about her because I don't really watch family vloggers. A couple disclaimers before I get into this. I am not personally a parent. I have never raised a child. I don't know what the struggle of raising a child is like. I have been raised by parents, so I guess, but a lot of us have, but I have no children, so I'm coming at it from that angle. If you have children and you think I'm speaking out of turn and that I got something wrong, please, absolutely 100% feel free to let me know in the comments below, because I always want my videos to be a place where people feel comfortable expressing their own opinions and that kind of thing. So after a couple of my viewers a few days ago were like, look into this situation, make a video if you feel that you should, that kind of thing, I looked into this woman. I had no idea who she was. So she's a family vlogger. She and her husband, James, the two of them, run a vlog together about their family. And then she has an individual channel where she talks about like mom life, and she does like clean with me videos and like homemaker related videos. And then he has also a separate channel where he does like car detailing videos. So it seems like there's a ton of vlogging going on. This family's making the majority, if not all, of their income through, you know, sponsorships, through ad revenue, through all of that. They're full-time social media influencers. I can say a lot of things about putting your kids on film. I think that that's a very tricky subject, whether or not people should be allowed to include their kids in their content. And I know that there's not really one right or wrong answer to this right now, because especially like, you know, a lot of kids, you look at someone like Ryan's Toy Channel, and he, you know, as a kid is making a ton of money, and from everything I've heard, he seems to be happy and well adjusted, but I don't know ever what's going on behind the scenes. But then you hear a lot of other stories about how parents are essentially exploiting their kids for views and to make revenue and that kind of thing. And that seems to really be what happened here. But I have a lot to say about this, and it might be jumbled up because I feel sick right now. This was not the video I had intended to make for today. I originally had a different video that was going to go up today, and it's going to go up next week, so like that video is still coming. It's a video I collaborated with Lillian Lalo, who's a host of the podcast called Toxic Positivity, and we talked together about how toxic positivity affects the multi-level marketing world, and how the idea of, you know, having to remain positive all the time causes people to, you know, ignore the realities of what's going on in a situation. And actually that topic is kind of appropriate to what's going on here, because I think that's definitely part of what happened, so I will go into that. But my collab with Lillian Lalo about toxic positivity is coming out next week, so stay tuned for that. I apologize that it didn't come out today, but this is an issue that like I could not ignore, because I stayed up till 3 a.m. when I heard about this last night. Like, I'd heard about who she was, and I was getting concerned for her family. And then when I found out the reality of what happened last night, I stayed up until 3 a.m. because I was in disbelief, because I had to, like, read everything about it to see if it was actually true. And I have to say my piece on this. So, I know I'm all over the place. For context, Myka and James had 5 kids, now they have 4 kids. You can tell this is not going anywhere good. And even up until like yesterday, her Twitter bio said mother of 5 kids, and then she just like stealthily changed the 5 to 4 out of nowhere. So a couple years ago, I think about 2 years ago, the two of them adopted a baby from China, and they, I think, crowdfunded the adoption, which I could talk for ages about the ethics of crowdfunding. I am a crowdfunding user because I use crowdfunding to start my own business, but I'll go into later why I think their use of crowdfunding was despicable in this case. But they crowdfunded getting their, funding their trip to China, getting this baby adopted. They adopted him and brought him into their home. These two also have 4 biological kids. They had 3 biological kids when they adopted him, and then she gave birth to her 4th biological child, at the time her 5th total child, recently. And so they were a family of 5. So she, obviously, the 2 of them had a lot on their plate trying to raise all these kids. I can't imagine how difficult that was. But it was clear that she was intentionally trying for more kids throughout this. She wanted to have a giant family. There's even a video I found of her saying that her future goal would be to have 6 total children, and she'd like to have adopted multiple children and that kind of thing. So these two care about having a big family, and that's fine. I know plenty of people who raise a lot of kids and they do a very good job at it. I know that big families mean a lot to some people, and I think having a big family can be great. There's a lot of love there, but not in this family. I don't believe there's a lot of love in this family. So what happened essentially is that they adopted this boy and raised him for 2 years with their family. And then all of a sudden he started disappearing from their vlogs. He wasn't there anymore. He just wasn't in the videos. He wasn't in their Instagram posts. She was still posting like all of these aesthetically pleasing posts where her family, her incomplete family, was all dressed up wearing the same color. Like, they'd do special poses together. She would do like, here's my vlog about how I cleaned the bathroom today, whatever, just like useless things, while people were in her comment section being like, hey, you have another child. Where is he? We haven't seen him in months. So people kept doing that. The story makes me sick, and I'm going to get into more in-depth reasons why. I just don't want to like break down on this. So she revealed just the other day that she had given her son up. Her adopted son, she adopted him 2 years ago, and then she gave him back up because he was too much for her with his special needs. He was diagnosed with autism, and she felt that it was too much. I have, as you can see in the background, the video that she posted about this. I'm going to be reacting to that and giving my thoughts on it momentarily. I just also kind of want to share where I'm coming from and why the story sickens me so much, because some people, like, I think a lot of people with any human decency can see why the story's sickening, but a lot of other people, some people might be wondering, okay, you're not a mom, you don't know the inner workings of what it's like to raise a child, which, sure, I get that. I will share my personal experience on this topic. I don't talk about my childhood a lot on my channel because I don't want to throw anyone in particular under the bus. You know, I want to respect my family's privacy. Nobody in my family, everyone in my family is private people except for me, which is why, like, they're not on social media that much, and I'm the one who puts myself out there. So I want to be respectful. So I'm going to be as vague as possible when I talk about all of this. And just to be clear also, this type of adoption that she did was an international adoption, which is, there is a lot going on that I don't think I can even get into everything in this video. Questionable ethics about what exactly she did in the process of adopting him, and that's a whole separate issue that I think I've seen some other YouTubers kind of delve into about that, so I'll link some more videos about that in the description below. You can check those out as well. The issue of having a kid who's adopted versus having a kid who is biologically related to you is an issue that's always been very close to me, because I was adopted in the year 2000 when I was 8 years old. I guess this is a controversial topic, so let me just summarize this as quickly as I possibly can. I would classify myself technically as half adopted. People have asked me, what does that mean? My initial response to that when I was younger was to always say, my mom gave birth to me, but my dad didn't. And then I thought about that and realized that's true for basically everyone. But what I mean by that is that I, for the first half of my childhood, was raised by a single mother. who was, you know, was in an abusive relationship. I'm not going to go into too much about that for part of it. My mom is an incredible person. I love her so much. You guys should know that. I talk great about my mom all the time. We work together, all of that. So, yes, my mom gave birth to me. My birth mom is my mom. Like, I'm not adopted on my mom's side at all. But then she, when she got married, I was adopted by my dad because I don't have any connection to my biological father. So, a lot of people, if I explain that to them, they say, like, that's just having a stepdad, which makes me want to fly off the fucking handle because it's a different situation entirely. Legally, it's a different situation. If my parents got divorced for some reason, my dad could fight for custody just as equally as my mom does. He has every right to me the same way. Just because he's not biologically related to me, he's not a stepdad, he's 100% my adoptive father. And that's, real quick, that's not to say that having a step-parent is any less of a parent at all. That's not to say that. Like, I think that step-parents are absolutely wonderful, but it's a different situation. The same as my situation of my adoption is very different from Myka's situation of adopting a child internationally. That is a completely different situation from mine, but I did want to share where I was coming from on this because I want you guys to know why I do get so fired up at the notion of parents in any situation ever treating an adopted child different from a biological one, because I have such a strong bond with my father. I have a strong bond with his side of the family. To me, it makes no difference that there isn't a blood relation, and it never has, and it never will. So, let's get into this. We are going to react together to this video about why Myka thinks in any possible potential world this is okay. And I know in this video a lot of people are going to say she's not trying to justify it, but let's watch this. Sorry I'm not that funny today, guys. I'm nauseated by this.
So this is by far the hardest video James and I have ever publicly had to make. But before I get into the video, I did just want to say thank you to how amazing our viewers have been. We have some viewers who have been just like so incredibly kind and respectful of our son's privacy. I just want to say thank you. Like, that really got me through some really hard times, and I just want to say thanks. Like, you have no idea.
So just real quick right off the bat, a lot of people who I've seen talking about this video have mentioned that they think her crying is fake. I am not here to speculate on what someone is truly feeling in the moment. Maybe her crying is fake, maybe it's real, I have no idea. I think it's really strange that she seems to care so much now about protecting her son's privacy when she's a family vlogger. As a lot of people have pointed out, when she adopted her son, I guess he's not her son anymore legally, I don't know. But when she adopted him, that, you know, the fact that she publicly crowdfunded this adoption, the fact that she, you know, documented every single piece of the process of this adoption on her YouTube channel, the fact that for 2 years this boy was in all of her family vlogs, that she filmed the good and the bad, the sweet moments and also the moments where he wasn't getting along with her or her other children or whatever. She didn't seem to care a lot about his privacy then. That's all I'm going to say, is that she was 100% fine with putting him on camera in the spotlight, which he was, you know, he's 4 years old right now, I think. So throughout the entire process that she's known him, he's been so young, there's no way he ever could have consented to this. And she was fine with putting him in the spotlight and stripping him of the ability to ever have had a private life in the first place. Like, she has, I think, 700,000 subscribers. Her husband has like 900,000, and then they have a third family vlog channel that has like 300,000. So they have almost 1 million people watching them, and she suddenly thinks she cares about his privacy. Now, a few people have brought up the point as well, so I definitely, even though I'm incredibly, like, angry, I think it's important to, you know, exercise objectivity the best we can when judging any situation. And a lot of people have mentioned that maybe when she's talking about respecting his privacy here, she might mean that there were legal proceedings underway that she could, like, she wasn't yet legally allowed to talk about what was going on due to, like, maybe him being transferred to another family or another type of adoption type of thing going on behind the scenes. So I don't know for sure if that was because she wasn't allowed to talk about it, but she, from the beginning, she's kind of framing this as, I wanted to respect his privacy. She's trying to paint herself as, like, a martyr, when in reality she is the villain. So I think that seems to be, like, her tactic for gaining sympathy, which is, like, I didn't tell you guys about this until now because I wanted to respect his privacy. It really makes it seem like she has had his best interest at heart the whole time, when, as we will continue to see, I don't think that's true.
What that means to me, and some of the special messages that you've sent, like, just thank you for the power.
I can't say enough how hard Myka has tried throughout this entire journey, and the amount of effort she's put into this and helping Huxley as much as she can. So
James here kind of comes off like a deadbeat dad. I don't want to be a bitch, but he's acting kind of like a deadbeat here. He's like, Myka has put in so much effort. Like, did you put in any effort? You're supposedly supposed to have been the kid's father. Did you put in any effort in this? I know a lot of people have mentioned, like, Myka is, I guess, a stay-at-home mom. She is a full-time mom, but it's like, okay, this family's entire income comes from vlogging, so I think if we're going to be specific, she's a work-from-home mom because running her vlog is her job, and I'm pretty sure his job is also running a vlog, so, like, these are both work-from-home parents who theoretically should have been managing their child, so the fact that he's already putting it on her, like, I want to say how much effort Myka has put in. Like, did you put in any effort? Because I see a lot more people dragging her than him, and I think maybe that's because, like, his focus on YouTube was being a car channel, so maybe people weren't thinking as much along those lines, but, like, with her focus was, here are my kids, here is me raising my kids, I am a mom, so maybe because of that, like, people thought about it more related to her, but still, like, way to take literally zero responsibility, Jim.
I mean, you guys have been part of this adoption journey even before, we picked up Huxley throughout the whole process. And, with international adoption, sometimes there's unknowns and things that are not transparent on files and things like that. And once Huxley came...
When you become a parent, in any way, shape, or form, there are unknowns. That's how this works. You can give birth to a child and not have any idea what's going to happen to them. What if you give birth to a child who has a very severe health problem, and you end up having to, spend the majority of your funds and your time getting them treatment and that kind of thing? Like, you couldn't have predicted that that was going to happen, but if you're a good parent, you'll still see them through the process. So it almost seems like he's trying to frame that as some kind of excuse. Like, there were things that they didn't tell us when we adopted him. It's like, yeah, Myka's given birth to 4 children. Were there things that, I don't know, her uterus didn't tell about them before she pushed them out? What? What?
Home, there was a lot more special needs that we weren't aware of and that we were not told. So over the past few years, Huxley's been in numerous therapies to try to help him.
Quick side note,
if you give birth to a child, no one's gonna tell you ahead of time if they have special needs either. You still have to be a fucking parent.
As an autistic person, I find Myka and James's actions abhorrent. It's common to see family vloggers use their children to get views, and I'm aware of how parents of autistic children make their child's diagnosis all about them, but this is taking it to another level. From what I've seen and read, Myka wants to have a disabled child just to make herself look like a savior. Considering how she put Huxley through applied behavior analysis (ABA), which has been criticized for undermining the child's independence and causing emotional trauma, it's clear she put her own desires before Huxley. Myka wanted to use Huxley as a means of inspiration, and when he didn't fit her narrative, she gave him away. Originally, I wanted to give Myka the benefit of doubt. I understand that some people aren't equipped to parent a child with special needs, and Huxley would be better off in a more nurturing environment. However, I was infuriated when I saw she expressed the desire to adopt a child with a disability which is minor or relatively easy to manage, that most people wouldn't consider easy. That Facebook post is what made me believe Myka was doing all of this out of selfishness. How could she uproot Huxley, who also has an attachment disorder, from his home after claiming she would never trade him in, only for her to turn around and ask about finding a better prop to use for her inspirational garbage? Autism is a spectrum, not a gradient. An autistic person's level of functioning can vary from day to day or even within the same day, if something happens which seriously affects them.
And over the last year has been a more intense therapy that he's been in to try to help him as much as possible with his severe needs. And for us, it's really hard hearing from medical professionals a lot of their feedback and things that have been upsetting, really upsetting for us, because...
So, this is kind of where I want to get into the idea of how I have less than zero patience for someone ever acting like adopting a child and having a biological child means any less of an emotional connection or any less bonding, or that there should be any difference whatsoever in how much of a parent you are to them. Because they keep saying this shit like there were a lot more special needs than we realized. There was a lot more going on with him that we weren't prepared for. Great! Who the fuck is ever prepared for the challenges that come with parenting? Literally. Who is ever prepared for that? And I'm feeling like right now, like, if one, like, you just had a baby, like, Myka just gave birth recently, I don't know, probably a couple months ago. So that baby is very young, right? That baby, we don't know anything about that baby's personality yet. We don't know if that baby might have medical issues down the line. You don't know what needs your baby that you gave birth to is going to have. So are you basically saying, like, that it might be an option to say, like, oh, well, no one told me ahead of time before I pushed out this baby?
This is not what we've ever wanted to hear. We've never wanted to be in this position. And we've been trying to get his needs met and help him out as much as possible. It's really hard, isn't it? I mean, we truly love him.
There's not an ounce of our body that doesn't love Huxley with all of our being. There wasn't a minute that I didn't try our hardest, and I think what Jim's trying to say is that after multiple assessments...
So they're really acting like the victim here. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, yeah, everyone knows you love your children. No shit. If you didn't love him, like, there would be something wrong. I assumed by default that you loved him. What the fuck? So going out of your way to say that, like, somehow it makes you a good person, that you, what? Loved your child? Give me a fucking break. Oh my god. I'm getting fired up. Myka is a shitty parent, James is a shitty parent, and they had not one child, but they had 5 children. They biologically gave birth to 3 children, adopted another one, and then went and tried to get pregnant again and had another child. So if you can't handle the children you have, why the fuck are you popping out more of them? Why? Why would you do that? And sorry if that sounded offensive. I didn't mean popping out in a derogatory way or anything. Like, I'm just fired up and I'm mad at her, so I'm mad at him too, and I feel like he's not getting enough backlash for this. So these two fuckers are literally the worst people on the internet, as far as I can tell.
After multiple evaluations, numerous medical professionals have felt that he needed a different fit in his medical needs. He needed more.
We haven't made this video yet. It's because we've been trying to protect his privacy.
we're trying to protect his privacy. They literally posted videos of him, like, having meltdowns, of them scolding him, of that kind of thing. So you didn't really care about his privacy then. I don't want to put up videos or posts that I've found along the way of the way that they treated him, because it sickens me to look at it again. And so there's plenty of people covering that. But one of the biggest examples that people have been bringing up, though, is that when he was having trouble with sucking his thumb, they duct taped his hand. They put duct tape on his hand to keep him from doing it, and took a picture of it and put it online. So I don't know where anyone gets off doing that or thinks that's in any way acceptable, especially because someone pointed out that, like, their biological children had been having thumb sucking issues as well, and they never duct taped their hands. So it's like, also, like, the kid is 4. He was probably like 3 or so whenever that picture was taken. He's a small child. He's basically a baby. Like, that's very, very young. I remember, I don't think I ever sucked my thumb, but I remember, like, knowing, like, when I was a kid, that other kids were doing that up through, like, 3rd grade, so that'd be ages, like, 8 or 9, and, like, they weren't supposed to be, so they would get, like, reprimanded in school for it and stuff, but not with physical punishment, not with, like, duct tape on your hand. Holy shit.
His rights, and also just try to not mess up his future that was laid out in front of us. We're trying our best.
You could have not messed up his future by not adopting a child you weren't committed to in the first place.
To make sure we don't impact that at all by making this video, and
that's why, like, on Instagram and stuff, I've tried to, like, let you know as little as I could, but I couldn't tell you anymore because I didn't want to mess anything up with what's going on legally, and if I said something, was I going to mess up things for his future?
So here's what she did on Instagram. It would have been one thing if because people were commenting for months. They had seen him missing since, like, February in pictures, so, like, for, like, 3 months now. People have been like, where is this child? So people have been commenting on her Instagram photos like, hey, where's your other son? And instead of being like, hey, so we've got some family issues going on right now, we need to stay private, or, like, responding in any way, Myka has deleted literally every single comment that anyone has posted about that and blocked everyone. She just turned around and was like, you're blocked, you're blocked, you're blocked. Whenever anyone would comment and be like, where is your other child? She wouldn't be like, hey, I'll talk about it soon. There's some stuff going on that's difficult to manage. Like, she just blocked everyone. And I guess that's where the toxic positivity connection comes in, right? Because within this influencer community, especially with, like, influencer parents, I think there's this pressure to make your life, like, aesthetic and perfect and something that people are wanting to aspire to and follow. So I think that in a lot of cases, admitting to any negativity, unless it's intentional negativity that paints you as the victor for overcoming something, if that makes sense, unless you have scheduled that negativity and that obstacle into your social media, everything has to be, look how wonderful our family is. Like, she did talk, like, she had talked openly on her YouTube channel and on her Instagram and everything about the difficulties involved in her adoption and how, you know, it was a very emotional process and whatever, but that was planned negativity. That was her planning to tell a story of how the family overcame something difficult and was a better family as a result. That wasn't her in the moment being like completely raw, if that makes sense. So I think that's why on Instagram, when she was suddenly getting a rush of negativity, the impulse there is to delete it, is to just be like, nope, this is going to happen on my terms. I will portray negativity on my channel or whatever when I am ready to. And it's like, if you take the risk of putting not just your life, but your entire family's life, especially with children who are incredibly young, and putting them all out there without their permission to do this, then I'm sorry, like, that's just a consequence you have to face.
And it's just been a really hard place to be in, like, because you're grieving, I want to share with you guys, like, I know inside that I don't have to say anything. Like, I don't have to say this. I don't have to, but I want to. Like, I want to tell you, you guys have been there for us for so much, and I want to fill you in on what's going on and what hard. Like, do I feel like a failure as a mom? Like, 500%.
Good, because you are a failure as a mom. I've never told anyone they've been a failure as a mom before, because I try to give parents the benefit of the doubt. Having never been a parent, I know that there are a lot of things I can't imagine and that I have no authority to speak on. But in this situation, giving back a child you adopted, you 100% did fail as a mom. So at least you recognize it.
So when you get, like, insidious, hurtful...
And by the way, James failed as a dad, too. He seems to be repeatedly taking no responsibility for anything that happened. So, James, the Rachel Hollis clone, who seems to not be able to apologize, James, you failed as a dad.
Comments, it just, like, really makes it hurt worse. It's not about me at all, but it's just, like, this journey has been... The last couple months have been, like, the hardest thing I could have ever imagined choosing to do. Because ultimately, after pouring our guts and our heart into this little boy...
The reason why we can't go into detail...
Okay. Has she once mentioned his feelings? We are over halfway into this video. This is a 7-minute video that she made, and we're 4 minutes into it. When has she mentioned his feelings? So far, it's her crying, talking about how she poured her heart and soul into raising him. What about him? He formed a bond with you two as his parents. He was, from, like, being a young child, he lived with you for 2 years of his 4-year-old life. Normally, nobody even remembers the first 2 years, so all of his memory is having had you guys as his parents, having had you show him love, and now you've given him up. What is he gonna think? What is he gonna think? And why have you not addressed that? Why has everything been about your feelings? How do you think he's feeling? Why am I, who's not a parent, telling parents that they need to be putting their kids' feelings first? Why? What? How are these two even real?
Of what actually transpired is because we're truly going to protect Huxley's privacy and not let people know what happened, everything that went on.
To make us make this decision or to even come to medical professionals with the need to get more help. Anything that happened in the home that was hard for Hux, that's not fair for me to put out there publicly. That's his privacy.
But it was fair for you to publicly put out pictures of you duct taping his hand. You thought it was fair to put out, you know, him being the main character in all of the vlogs about your life. You thought it was totally fine to monetize those videos and gain sponsorships and do sponsored posts with pictures of him in there. You thought his privacy didn't matter too much when you were making money off of him, but now suddenly his privacy matters. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying she should share more information about him. I think it's good that she's keeping his privacy private here. But I'm saying I don't trust that her motivations or his motivations, I don't trust that this family's motivations are pure in this case, because they didn't seem to care about his privacy when he was making money for them. So now when they say they care about his privacy, I'm like, do you? Or do you care about protecting your own reputation?
So we're not going to talk about that. That's not appropriate. Like, and that'll never be appropriate. I didn't adopt a little boy to share these things publicly. Every now and then you may have gotten like a teeny like struggle or like a hardship when I was trying to be like really raw and real. But
when I was trying to be really raw and real, I don't know if that was a Freudian slip, but you don't try to be real. Real is just what you are, you know? Like, if you're trying to be real, then you already are doing it wrong.
We haven't intentionally, like day one intentionally, 99, 95% of the struggles we have never publicly aired, ever, with pure intent of respecting his privacy, not to give you a fake facade or to be lack of transparency, but to respect our son's privacy, and this is all that we're okay with sharing. The reason we haven't updated you sooner is because the medical professionals, the agencies, multiple people have been allowing for Huxley to spend time with some different people to see and to make the perfect match and fit for his now new forever family.
New forever family. Does something sound wrong there? If something's forever, it's not supposed to change. So you're saying this boy's being transferred to another family, and there's no mention so far of how is he going to adjust when this family when this family shows him love, when this family says, I love you unconditionally forever, you are my son, like you are my son, I will raise you as my son. When this family says those things to him, it's going to sound a lot like what he heard from you before you gave him up. So I'm not a psychologist, and I'm not going to claim to be, or I'm not going to claim to have any expert knowledge on how child development works. But I feel like there's pretty much no way he isn't going to have trust issues. You taught him that love is conditional. And fuck you for that.
From the updates we've gotten from the agency and through the adoption agency, like, they were able to place him in what they felt was literally the perfect match. When we met, like Jimmy said earlier when we got Hux, we didn't know a lot of these unknowns. And
again, when you have a kid, you have a lot of unknowns. You had 5 children, now you have 4 children. You had 5 children. How did you not know that there were going to be unknowns? Like, especially, like, since she had a baby while in the process of dealing with what she's claiming is the worst struggle with her son Huxley, she had another baby during that time. So while she was, like, stressing out about, like, oh my god, there are all these unknowns, there are all these things that I didn't know were possible, or that I didn't even know could possibly happen, you would think that if she genuinely realized that there were certain parenting struggles she was incapable of handling, that she and James, that the two of them would not have had another kid, because it's like, you would think they would have learned their lesson, like, oh, there's some things that I am not capable of handling as a parent, but they didn't. They went and had another kid. You don't know what's gonna happen with that kid. What? How can these two think that it's okay to keep having kids if they have realized that there are certain parenting struggles they're not cut out for? It doesn't compute. The only way I can make sense of it is to think that these two treat their adopted and biological children differently. And that's why I get so mad at this video. Because it's the same reason I get mad when people try to claim I have a stepdad or whatever. Like, no, I have a father. He adopted me. He's 100% my father, and he treats me that way. And I have a family, and I'm very fortunate to have that family. I got very lucky in my life. And let me be clear about something, too. Even though, again, I know that my situation is very different, that the international adoption world is a completely different animal. I know that. I know that. When my dad adopted me, I, for one thing, was an already 8-year-old child. I had so many issues. When I say issues, I mean health issues, physical issues. I grew up with, I don't want to go too much into my medical history, but a few minor physical disabilities. I had to go through physical therapy a lot as a child. I had to go through emotional therapy as a child. You know, I grew up in the beginning of my life with there being violent people in my, like, I came with a lot. And I didn't even step back and analyze how that might have been a struggle for him until I started to sit down to make this video. I guess that shows that I'm a self-centered asshole and that I need to be calling up my dad to show him more appreciation for being a decent human being. So maybe I'll do that after this, but like, holy shit.
When agencies or adoption agencies have more pieces to the pie, or they have more pieces, it makes the matching process a little better, or a healthier match. And they found somebody that they felt would be ultimately the best fit, and he is thriving. He is very happy. He's doing really well, and his new mommy has medical professional training and is a very good fit.
So, you guys know I always have a point in every video where I say, okay, time to give some credit to the person I'm criticizing. I'm going to do my best in this video because if what she's saying here is 100% true and she's not misrepresenting what she said there whatsoever, and he truly is fully adopted in a home with someone who has adopted him and become his mom, and she does have medical training in this field, and she knows exactly what she's doing, then I guess that would be a better situation for him than remaining with Myka and James, who clearly don't value human life whatsoever. Yes, I would agree that that's probably a better situation for him. But, and this is speculation, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. I saw some people talking about these things on social media, and a few people were saying it seems highly unlikely that he has already been fully adopted again, like legally the process has gone through, because the adoption process takes a really long time, and that when she's saying his new mommy, that she's probably referring to a foster mom instead of an adoptive mom, which, you know, she could fully adopt him later on, but a lot of people are saying that she's kind of misrepresenting it here and making it sound like the situation is a lot more finalized than it really is. Again, I'm not going to fully outright accuse her of lying here or anything like that, because, you know, nobody has all the full information. Nobody knows what's going on behind the scenes, so I'm not going to do that. But I just want to say, like, it's always good to remain a little bit skeptical and to think, like, okay, you know, as a vlog channel, these two do want to present their family in the most positive light possible. These two do want to play the victim to an extent. They do want to make it sound like everything's going better for him now and everything worked out in the end. So, did it really turn out as well as they're saying it did? I don't know, but on the off chance that she's being 100% honest and forthcoming here, then I guess that's good, that he found a family that isn't going to abandon him like your stupid ass did.
And I ask everyone that, you know, watches this video, that supports our family, you know, give us grace, give us the support and the privacy that we
Nope.
need during this time for ourselves and for Huxley.
Please, just respect his privacy, and just know that, like, we may come on socials, like, for my channel.
It's kind of funny how you ask people to respect his privacy after you literally crowdfunded his adoption. What the fuck?
The reason I started my channel is to be positive and to bring people positivity, even though we're struggling, and that when we talk about Hux, it's a huge win for us. Just because I may be positive on my stories or be having fun, doing something fun, doesn't mean that I'm not, like, still horribly hurting, and the same for Jim. So, like, just please have grace with us, because even though we don't share that publicly, we are still struggling. I mean, we're going to be heartbroken for a very long time.
For a very long time. I hope you're heartbroken for the rest of your life. You don't deserve to get over this. Normally I wouldn't say that to anybody. I'm usually, almost in every situation, I'm a believer in second chances. But, first of all, he was their fourth child, so I don't know how much second chances even applies here. Second of all, how do you think your other children are feeling right now? There's no addressing of that, and they could hide behind the veil of, like, we want to protect all our children's privacy. But there's protecting your children's privacy, and then there's acting like their emotions don't matter, which is what I feel like they're doing here. People have pointed out, like, now that their other children have seen that these are parents that are willing to give up a child that is theirs, that is their child, they're willing to give that child up. That is something that they are capable of. How do the other children feel now? Do they feel safe? Do they feel like their parents' love is conditional now? I don't know. I'm not going to say if they feel like, again, I'm not an expert on this. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. but giving a child up is not okay. That's basic human decency.
So thank you for everything, and we just really appreciate all of your support and kindness, but just please respect our privacy.
And respect his too.
The amount of times they ask for us to respect their privacy, like, I get respecting his privacy. I'm thankful that this child is going to have somebody actually respecting his privacy. I mean, I'm assuming the family that's adopted him now is not another vlog family. They better not be. But when they ask us to respect their privacy, like Myka and James, I don't think they deserve us respecting their privacy, to be honest, because you took people's monetary donations to finish your adoption. You broadcast the entire thing on the internet. You made money off of this child. You put this child in monetized videos. You did sponsored ad posts with this child. You had a child who was 4 years old who could not consent to being filmed. And you made him a staple in your career. And now you're asking your viewers to respect your privacy. My mind is blown. My mind is blown. I guess today I am grateful that I have a family that didn't treat me like this. I am grateful. If anything, this is inspiring me to find the nicest Father's Day gift possible, so. I don't think I've been this emotional on camera since I was reacting to the way that Rachel Hollis portrayed my body type as a quirky struggle she had to overcome. And this is worse. Like, that doesn't even compare. That's not even in the same ballpark. I don't want to cry on camera because they cried on camera and I don't want people to think I'm like being manipulative. Anyway, now that I've finished this, I'm going to film my small business shout out video. I've been looking forward to filming that video for months while I've been waiting for everything to come in the mail so that I can shout out some small business owners, because right now is a difficult time for everybody. Holy shit, I didn't even bring that up. The fact that they gave up their child during an international pandemic. Thank you guys for watching this. Let me know your thoughts on everything in the comments below. Can't look at these people's face anymore. Bye everyone.